G'day and welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today, my guest is Nicolas. Dan is a professional bodybuilder, a drummer, and quite frankly, a walking inspiration. We have a great conversation about his journey from amateur to pro in the competitive world of bodybuilding. We talk about music and how it still plays a major role in his career. And we also talk about how he didn't allow his brush with cancer to stand in the way of achieving his goals. Dan's story is one of sacrifice, determination, and achievement. I found our conversation incredibly inspiring, and I hope you get as much out of this episode as I did. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, but for now, please enjoy episode 7 of Picking Bones with Hugh Jones. Okay. Dan Nicolas, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so glad you can take the time to be here. And
of course.
You're incredibly busy, man. I'm surprised I could pull you out of the gym.
I can always make time for you.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you so much. Well, we've got lots to talk about.
Yeah.
I want to jump straight in. I've been following you on Instagram. Your bodybuilding journey has kind of gone from here to here, from what I can see. You look incredible. I mean, I'm looking at you now, you look amazing, but in the photographs, you're doing all these posing and all these comps and you're winning all these amazing awards. What sparked, what was the inspiration to take this to this huge new level?
The inspiration, I mean, it's funny, with bodybuilding, it's kind of come full circle for me. Like I first got into training.
I'll get you to come a little bit closer on the mic there if you can. Just
Yeah.
I'll bring it into you, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Beautiful.
With training and bodybuilding specifically, it's kind of come full circle. I first got into training when I was about 19.
Mm-hmm.
Had an interesting introduction to that through my uncle, who spent a lot of time in prison.
Yep.
That was kind of my introduction to training. I was, I never really went to a gym before. He kind of got my brother and I into shape. Like he came back from a long trip overseas.
A long trip overseas?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a term?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a little holiday.
Yep.
Holiday.
Gotcha.
He came back looking...
Sorry, can I interrupt you on some coffee?
I would love some, yes. Thank you.
Okay, so a long extended trip overseas. Got it.
Yeah, and he came back a completely different person.
Yep.
And he basically kicked our asses.
Wow.
In the gym. Like we had a gym set up at home, and he just, basically tortured us.
That's amazing. So, because I actually have, I don't know how, in what kind of detail I'm going to talk about this, but I do have a friend who's actually currently in prison for a crime he didn't commit, I believe, but that's another discussion for another time.
Yeah.
He has turned his life around in a huge way as well, because he was, I met him in the bar scene. Like I used to work with him in a bar, and he was a borderline alcoholic, quite frankly, and he was a bit overweight and he didn't take care of himself. And now he's gone to jail, and I talk to him every now and again. He calls me and we chat on the phone. And he's lost all this weight, and he's had a six-pack for the first time in his life ever, and he's just training constantly. And according to him, there are people who go one way or the other, because you can go both ways in jail. For sure. So I'm told. There's, despite what people might think, there's obviously going to be still access to substances. Yeah. People smuggle them in somehow, probably make alcohol or find ways to get alcohol. You can certainly do that as well, so I'm told. But also, apparently they have a lot of, obviously they have the meals they serve you, but you can get an allowance from friends, family. People can send you small amounts of money that you can buy. They have like a little tuck shop kind of thing, and they push the sweets and the chips and the sodas and all that stuff onto you because, well, I mean, number one, what else are you going to do? You know, but also I think the guards prefer it when you're unfit, lethargic,
Yeah, probably.
overweight, unhealthy. So they want you to eat the unhealthy food and not get in shape because much easier to navigate people who are like that.
For sure. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's what my mate has said anyway. But it's so interesting that such a dark and horrific thing to happen to somebody, whether they deserve it or not, it's still a very, very horrible thing to have to go through, can actually turn their life around and actually be a positive influence on people.
Yeah, for sure. And that was for him. I mean, he's still in and out, but in terms of his fitness, it just, something clicked with him. And he came back. I was about 19, 20, older brother, a couple of years older than me. And he took us through like full ghetto style prison workouts, like
wild.
Yeah, like it was like torture.
Yeah. Who's that guy? CT Fletcher. You follow him?
Yeah, actually, perfect segue because that was around that time when he was coming up. Basically the same year when my uncle Junior came out of jail. It was just before that, before CT came on the scene.
Right.
And I, really, he was one of the guys I was inspired by as well.
It's still your motherfucking set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
He's amazing, dude. He's so cool.
Yeah. So it was just that same time, and like from my uncle and from him was how I developed that sort of that next level of intensity in my training. Mm-hmm. No form whatsoever was taught by my uncle.
Sure.
No, I had to learn that
just
myself.
Throwing around sandbags in the backyard.
Yeah, for real. Just like using, body weight, like his body weight for squats, or my body weight for him to do squats, like literally on his back, or using the towels and for curls. And
that's the thing my mate said. It's like they do curls with like plastic bags with bottles of water in it, because they don't have weights. It's not like in the movies where there's like a prison yard and like just outdoor weights gym.
Yeah,
it's
especially not in Argentinian prison.
Oh, was it in Argentina that he went to? Okay, right.
So that was my introduction to training and to bodybuilding, it kind of like I was pretty consistent for a few years there, like with training, but it kind of stopped. I guess at the time there wasn't as much access to social media wasn't really around as prominently as it is now for looking to compete in bodybuilding. I was interested in it at the time, but I just didn't know how or what or where to go, who to talk to.
Yeah.
So it dropped off a bit, and then kind of got back into music around that time as well. Mm-hmm. Playing drums. I've playing drums since 8 years old.
Yeah.
That's another thing that's kind of been just off and on. And then, over time, it just, pretty much like a decade later, just kind of came full circle and, off and on with training, but became really consistent with it just before COVID.
Yeah.
Pretty much lockdowns got me into like really consistently training.
Because I remember, it was whenever we were just talking about this before when we met at Crowbar. You posted up an image of you like a before and after, and it was like you were in the beach somewhere. You had your shirt off, and like it wasn't like a terrible shot, but it was certainly not the body of a bodybuilder. It was just like an average Joe kind of body. And then the next one next to it was like 8-pack, and you're just like this huge monster of a thing. I'm like, it's so amazing when you actually see that kind of transition.
Yeah, for real. That was at that point I had muscle there. Like it was just like that's what a couple of years of not training, eating like shit really did.
Oh, I know.
I really let myself go there.
But but that huge progress that you made in that photograph, I think you seem to have made that progress again, which didn't even really seem like that would be possible. But from all these awards you're winning and all these competitions you're going into. I think at least from the outside looking in, you've leveled up from that moment again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, like, I don't, and you must be training certainly every day.
Like 5-6 days a week.
Yeah. Diet on point.
It's funny, like the training, I feel like the amount of training kind of becomes less and less in a weird way. Like I used to be in the gym for at least 2.5 hours, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
Every day. And then now it's just, I don't know, I find a way to train more efficiently. And allow recovery.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like, yeah, it's still 5-6 days a week, but I'm not in there for more than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's everything else outside of that.
Sure.
It's your nutrition and recovery and everything else.
Do you have a nutritionist helping you, or are you doing all this on your own?
I've done all this on my own. I had help with nutrition basically the 10 weeks before my season started.
Yep.
I hired a prep coach, but I just wanted him for the nutrition because I've had a few coaches. I've tried a few coaches, 5 total in the past year or so. I haven't really gelled with them.
Yep. Wait, just nutrition coaches or like training coaches?
They were everything, yeah. Like
everything.
Training and nutrition.
Yeah.
But I never really gelled with any of them on the training side.
Sure.
I think, yeah, at this point, I've realized I can back myself with training because I've not had a coach for training my whole, since I was 19.
Yeah.
Except for my uncle Junior, yeah. But and CT Fletcher.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this is an interesting thing about I see with like professional athletes of any kind, whether they're bodybuilders or fighters or, even some world-class football players. It's like the coach who guides them through their journey must be so fucking knowledgeable, because if you're at the top of your game as any kind of athlete, whoever's giving you advice and telling you what to do also has to be at the top of their game and has to have been in that position that you're in. Maybe they're a little bit too old now. Maybe they don't have the knees for it anymore or something, but they've got the experience, because, God, it would be difficult to be told what to do by somebody who knows less than you.
Yeah, that was, like the first few was kind of like that. It was, after that, I was looking for a coach that has done what I want to do or more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it has to be someone that's above me. It just makes sense.
100%. You just won all these awards. I've seen all these medals on your chest posing. I see all these, like, you posted an image of a whole pile of them. There's trophies and medals, and there's a crown, I think, in the center of it all. Like, you kind of got all this stuff. Tell me what all of these have been. Like, what competitions are these?
So there's in natural bodybuilding, there's several different federations, and I competed in 3, like the 3 sort of biggest in the country. And I guess my initial goal was to become pro athlete in 3 feds.
Okay.
That's what the goal I set for myself last year.
And how does somebody go from amateur to pro? I mean, is it winning competitions, or is it getting endorsements? Is it all the above? How does that work?
It's basically one shot at a time. So you start the state, or like local state show. If you win that show, if you win overall in that show, it takes you to the nationals. Each state will have a show in one season. And then the winner of each state goes into the national show, and then the winner of that overall, that's usually how you get your pro card.
Yeah, right. You actually get a card, or is that just a saying?
Some give out cards, some give out trophies and
whatnot. And have you gotten to this stage yet?
I've got a pro card at 2 out of 3 feds.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that happened this year.
Yeah.
Dude, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
And one of them was, you can also go into a pro show where it's a lineup of just pros. So with one of the feds, I went from amateur to pro, and then went straight into a pro show and won that. So
Came first.
yeah,
Dude.
Yeah.
How cool is that? That's amazing.
yeah, that was one. Yeah, that was probably the
This
best
time
show.
last year, did you see that happening? Did you think that was going to be the line from
Yeah,
that was the goal.
yeah.
To get into a pro show and win.
I had this envisioned from last year. I really I had 3 pro cards envisioned. I really believed I could do it, and I every night would think about it.
Who are those bastards that didn't give you the other one?
Yeah, fuck them. They don't matter.
Yeah, but they don't matter now because they don't have you.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I set a pretty big goal, and I fell short.
That's a
little
huge
bit,
goal, dude. To go into a pro bodybuilding competition and win, huge goal.
Yeah. So, obviously super proud of it. Actually, I'll go back and talk about last year. Because last year was my first time competing.
God, what was that like? That moment stepping on the stage in your underwear, flexing your muscles. I mean, I'm sure by now it's pretty normal to you, but I can only imagine the first time must have been very nerve-wracking.
Not really. I honestly didn't feel nervous.
Really?
I haven't felt nervous for any shows, which is, I think it's a bit bizarre. But
I think it's probably most people's worst nightmare. I mean, they say that people's biggest fear is public speaking. That takes it to a whole new level. Because you're as on display as anybody can possibly be. You're in your
90%
underwear,
naked, and
in front of a room, people judging you.
yeah,
They're there to judge you and how good you look, and you're there
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I thought, leading up to my first show, I thought I'm not nervous yet. I literally checked myself. Am I feeling nervous? No, not really. I'm all right. And got to the moments before stage, and I was adrenaline rushing. But not nervous.
But that's cool too. I mean, maybe it's because you did your homework. You put all the work in. You did as much as you could, and you stepped on that stage. The cards are going to fall where they may. I mean, it's if you put in the work, maybe you've got nothing to be nervous about.
It could be that, yeah. Especially this season, I was super confident. I didn't see anything else other than winning every show, nothing but gold medals. That's all I saw every night. Just picturing the whole show.
Dude, that's amazing.
Especially that the pro show one. I went down to Melbourne for that one, and just the whole weekend, I just mapped it out. Every night I would see it in my head, just driving down there and just getting ready for it, and the whole tan up and backstage, and I just
so you manifested it. You really sat there and meditated on this goal, this thing you wanted, and you wished it and willed it into existence. That's
pretty much
fucking impressive, dude. Because most people can't do that, or they try. I mean, it's.
It was pretty surreal, because it all happens so quickly too. It just goes like that, and it's something I've envisioned every night, and then the build up's months and months, and then the day itself just goes so quickly, and I was couldn't even process it quick enough. That was where I was at, and I was I actually haven't said this before, but because the weeks before that I was a bit suspicious of something. I had to get something checked, and that morning I went and got checked, and that was when I found out I had testicular cancer.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember talking to you a little bit about that when it happened. I wasn't going to bring it up, to be honest, but it's because it's your story to tell.
No.
And before we go down any further, you're all clear now.
Yeah,
you're all good.
I'm all clear. Yeah, I got a 6-month check in a couple of weeks, and then after that, I think it's remission for 12 months, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. That's, I'm really happy for you. That's really positive news. Because when you told me, or you didn't tell me, you posted on Instagram, and then we messaged each other about it a bit. It was confronting because you're a young guy, you're healthy, you take care of yourself, you don't do loads of drugs and drink and smoke and
Not anymore.
of course, but you're a very healthy guy. You take very good care of yourself, and then for that to happen, it's a shock. It's a shock to other men who are around you, because they think, it could happen to such a healthy guy like Dan. It could happen to anybody, and it could. And it's it's
absolutely.
a stark reminder for everybody. Get checked. Check yourself. And
for sure, at my healthiest, and it just that's just one of those things that could happen to anyone, and. Yeah, just the way I found out was, luckily I caught it very early.
Yeah.
And it was just a surgery.
Yeah.
But this was all what I had to do in basically I found out about 2-3 months after my first show last year.
Yeah.
And I was well into my off season, doing really well. And then, suddenly oh, fuck, no, you got cancer.
Yeah.
So
that put a fork in the road for your training, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what everyone was saying, and I was very just hell bent on this is not gonna disrupt anything, because by then I had that plan of next year I'm gonna be competing, and I'm gonna get 3 pro cards. That was, I've already made that decision, and then it was weeks later I found out I had cancer. I was like, fuck, it initially was it just fucked up my whole plans.
Sure.
But I was stubborn and just really hell bent on getting through it,
and good for you, man. And who knows how much that attitude played a role in your recovery from the cancer. I mean,
it
being
did.
That determined and that driving,
did.
Because I think a lot of people, everybody would handle that news differently, and I've thankfully never had to be told that news, but if I was to be, I don't know how I'd handle it. I really don't, because I think, it's, everybody's going to manage it differently, but I think the best way to manage it is clearly just the road you decided to take, which is fuck this. This isn't going to get in the way of my goals. I'm still going to do this. I'm going to do what I need to do to deal with it and keep going. And you did. And hey,
that
the
was
proof's
the
in the
mindset.
pudding.
Yeah, just I don't know, just stubborn as fuck or something. I don't know, but just I wanted that to really. I've always prided myself on being strong, mentally, physically. Mm-hmm. And I think this was, to me, I saw it as just a sign from the universe, if you will. How strong are you? Was kind of what I was asking myself.
Right.
Are you strong enough to beat cancer and fucking continue on your journey?
Yeah.
I started asking myself that, and it was fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And once, it was just the switch flick sort of thing. When I got through that and in remission, it was just, I felt fucking indestructible. I felt like
I can only imagine.
I can get through that, and that's with bodybuilding. One of the, if not the biggest part of bodybuilding is the mental aspect of it. Mentally getting through each day when you're dieting down, and I felt like I got through cancer. What the fuck is dieting? That's nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Gives you huge perspective.
So what? I can't fucking eat a burger. It just flicked the switch. I can do anything.
If you can beat cancer, you can get that last rep out. If you can beat cancer, you can you do what you got to do for your diet. You got to wake up early, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You really had an opportunity to prove to yourself and the world that you can probably achieve anything.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's not the kind of thing you wish on yourself or you wish on anybody, but if you can take such a dark and negative thing like that and turn it into a positive, I mean, you are indestructible, actually, And that's,
I felt like I had to. There's no, I had a choice. I could just, say, yep, oh, I got cancer. The story ends there, kind of thing, and then I don't compete, or I just whatever.
Yeah.
Blame everything on that and
Yes.
just not do anything. Or I can look at it as like, how fucking strong are you? Can you push through that? Can you keep going?
You've just said something really quite poignant there. I think, you could have blamed everything negative in your life on that one moment, on that one diagnosis, on that. And to be fair, most people would understand.
Yeah.
I think friends, family would go, he got dealt a hard one. Yeah, he was about to become this great bodybuilder and he got cancer. Oh, such a shame. And it's like, and that people would understand, and that could have been your story.
The end of the story.
Yeah.
Well, I just didn't want that to define me either.
Good for you, man. I mean that. Like
how much more impressive is that? Like, he fucking, beat cancer, fucking got pro cards, and he's going to keep going and do this and that. Like, that's what I want.
And the further you go now with this career, each step that you take, each award that you win is a fuck you to cancer. And it's a fuck you to the bad life that you could have had, as a result of this. And simultaneously, it's an inspiration to anybody else who's going through a tough situation, whether it's cancer or something worse or something not as bad. But don't let these bad cards you're dealt define you and completely derail your whole life. Now, okay, fine. Take that with a grain of salt. Some people have hands dealt to them that are, unimaginably horrific.
Yeah.
But cancer is pretty up there, and look at what you did with it. I mean, it's really impressive.
To be fair, like I got like the best case scenario out of it. I didn't have to do any treatments, any chemo and stuff like that. But there was still, having to go through my whole prep and off season of like, there was a surgery in there, and I was supposed to be not training for 6 weeks, and I took about a week off.
Your doctor says don't train for 6 weeks. You go, I'll give you one.
Yeah, how about 3 days?
How about 6 days?
I didn't tell him at all. I was like, okay, 6 weeks, and then no, I was like, fuck that.
But also,
I'm not training.
Who knows? I mean, potentially, I don't know, getting your blood moving and getting your body moving could have been beneficial. I don't know.
I mean, it was. Nothing bad happened, and I got through it. But, the whole prep was, the whole off-season, that whole prep was going through the surgery, doing blood test. At that point, doing a blood test every 4 weeks. So it was kind of like still having to deal with it and think like, fuck, this could come back. In the back of my mind, I was like, this could come back still.
Yeah.
But just trying to block it out as much as possible. Keep training, keep on point with everything. Like, I've still had that goal of like, I'm competing next year. I'm gonna win everything. Blah blah blah. Like, it's gonna happen.
I'm so impressed, and I feel, just to be your mate and to know you and to hear the story. It's really, there's a sense of like, I don't know, not that it's even really my place, but there's like a sense of pride. I'm excited when you tell me this. It's like such a positive story. It's brilliant, man. It's brilliant.
That's what I want. Like, just to show that I'm no different. Like, anyone can push through shit like that. And I think that was why I wanted to push through, was to explain that to people. And that's what I was saying before. I've always looked at myself as someone strong, like mentally, physically. And I think I saw it as like my calling to prove that and show everyone.
And just by doing it,
anyone can fucking do this shit.
You're going to help so many people by living that, leading with that example and living that example. You're going to help so many people that you don't even know. You'll never meet. They'll follow you on Instagram. They'll listen to this podcast. Yeah. They'll hear this story and they'll go, you know what? Fuck, I should go to the gym today. I didn't get cancer diagnosed today. I should go to the gym. Yeah. Or whatever. Maybe not the gym. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. There was like there was a point, of course, it was fucking leg day, and I was like, going through it, like I was really, fucking, really feeling it, just It was like, why me? Like, why the fuck am I going through this shit? Why?
Dude, I feel that same way every leg day too.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know what it is. Like leg days, like I always have. Like they're just they're the most intense, and I've had a lot of like big realizations, like leading up to getting ready for leg day. I guess it's just like it's emotional. I have like a lot of emotional moments when I train legs, and that was one of them. Like it was just that day. It was just hitting me hard. I was like, why the fuck? Why have I got this diagnosis? And like, why me? And then somewhere during it, it was just like it flipped from why me to of course me, and it was just this weird moment. I had like, this is my chance to prove to people. Like,
oh right,
my
okay. I was going to ask that. So not of course me because this always happens to me, but of course me because this is my opportunity to
to prove to people my strength and that I'm not different to anyone. Anyone can do this. Anyone can push through adversities and just don't let things define you and don't be stuck in a situation, a diagnosis or whatever, and just push through it.
Amazing advice, man. And the proof's in the pudding with you, and you've lived it. It's not just advice coming from nowhere. It's coming from a lived experience, which is really, really cool, man. So what is next on the bodybuilding journey? Because I know, so you've just done you've done this huge run of comps, which you've won most of them as far as I can see. Which is amazing. What is the next goal? What's on the on the mood board?
The next thing is what I'm working on now, which is setting up a business. I want to be a full-time posing coach.
Okay.
I will be, and I truly believe I'll be, the biggest in the country, best in the country.
Fantastic.
Posing coach. And that was kind of, again, part of the reason I really wanted to compete and do as well as I did is because I wanted to show my improvements in not just my physique, but my posing from last year to this year.
Because for people who don't know this and people who might be watching this who know nothing about bodybuilding, the posing part is a very big part of it and very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that for a long time until I watched Pumping Iron and Arnie and the little Italian guy, what was his name? His best mate or one of his best mates?
Hang on.
Not Lou Ferrigno.
Jesus. I'm having a...
That's okay. It doesn't matter. The little Italian guy. The other one. They're posing and they're in a ballet studio.
Yeah, they did ballet lessons.
And they did ballet lessons. And what the lady, the teacher said, which I think is so... this is what made me realize how difficult this thing is. This aspect of bodybuilding is she said, people are still watching you between your movements. So make every motion, every movement important or purposeful.
Every movement has a purpose. Everything.
It's not just pose, then whatever, check your watch, scratch your head, go, and then pose again. It's like, no, you're on stage from the moment you walk on to the moment you walk off. People are staring at you. Yeah,
it's a performance. And that's what I've learned from this. Is it's no different to drumming, which music and like that performance. Like when I would play drums, I would fall into a different character, a different persona almost. And it's the same with bodybuilding and posing. Like I had to develop this on stage persona.
Yeah. It's Franco Columbo, by the way. I just Googled it. Sorry to jump in there. But no, you're 100% right. Once you're on stage, you do need to get into a mindset.
It's performance art.
100%. 100%.
That's what I love about posing. Because it incorporates like that, my passion of bodybuilding and performance.
It's like the two worlds colliding.
I've kind of merged it into this one thing, like my two biggest passions. And like my posing has gone up levels from last year to this year to the point like I'm extremely confident in it, and I for sure will be one of the best, if not the best, posing coach in the country.
That's fantastic.
Like
man.
I've set that for myself now. Like that's what I see every night now. The same, like it's just trying to manifest that, like I did with the shows.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm building the business, trying to understand the business side of things, get all that sorted, and
that's one of the best things about what you've done. The way you've manifested this for yourself, and the way that you have taken yourself from average guy to award-winning professional bodybuilder, is you've proved yourself that you can do it, that you can manifest something and just achieve it by saying, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of copy and paste and do it again.
Yeah.
In terms of the attitude, I mean, obviously the parameters are different, but that once you achieve something like that, you know that anything's possible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I have every faith that you will be the biggest posing coach in the country and maybe in the world.
Yeah.
You know, why the fuck not?
Yeah, for sure. Like, no ceilings to it. Like I just got to think as big as possible.
Would there ever be, this might be a silly suggestion actually, but would there ever be a situation where you could incorporate drumming into your posing perhaps? You come out, like maybe they wheel out a kit or something, you do a drum solo and then you give them the double bicep.
I'll work on that.
maybe.
There could be something there. So that's the goal now. And again, that was a part of why I pushed to do. Yes, please. That was part of the reason I pushed to compete this year. Not just to have that, that turnaround of like competing, then going through cancer, then competing again and success. It was also like a launching pad for my career. So to become 3-time pro, I became 2, and then use that as like to advertise myself as a 3-time pro, best posing coach in the world.
That's amazing. It's a pretty
so
impressive
that was,
business card.
Yeah, that was the goal, and that's I think.
With the posing coach thing, will you still simultaneously be entering comps? Is that like
I still want to
do the
compete.
two kind of have to go hand in hand?
Yeah, I mean, I still want to compete.
Yeah.
I'll probably take a good couple of years off, I'd say.
From now?
2 to 3 years, I think. Just give my body a break. It's been through a bit, so
I can only imagine, dude.
Give it a bit of love and a lot of food.
Yeah. Dude, so one of my favorite things is seeing on the internet is bodybuilders who've just finished a comp and then the food that they eat. I mean, there must be, I mean, I know what it's like to kind of, cut calories and watch what I eat for a little while and then have a cheat meal for sure. But I can only, like, at the level that you do it, the sacrifices you make, and then to have a cheeseburger or a candy bar, I'm not fucking American, a chocolate bar, excuse me, or a donut or some piece of cake. Like, it must be like a drug. Like, it must, like, your whole system must be like,
the
what
feeling,
is this?
like, I wish everyone could experience that feeling of, like, when you have your first fucking burger after months and months of dieting. Like, it's a spiritual feeling. For sure.
So is it so how many months would you be on a very strict diet for before a comp?
I was dieting since about January, and then
like, that's insane. I mean, it might not be in your world, and it might not be for bodybuilders, but
I mean, if I'm completely honest, there's dieting all year round. There's a level of diet, but there's obviously at some point in the off season, your bulking phase, it's like a bit more flexibility.
Sure.
And
I think the best I've ever managed is really good 6 days a week, and then on the 7th day I have a pizza or a burger or something. And for me, I'm like, I'm so good. Like,
look,
January,
from
is
January,
like 6 months.
There's still, I was still having a cheat meal a week.
Okay.
Okay. Honestly, I was having a cheat meal a week up until about 8 weeks out.
Okay, so
but it's still very controlled. It's just don't go fucking having 12 pizzas and
No,
shit
you
like
still
that.
got to restrict yourself,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
it's
But
like-
so it's okay. So I thought you're having chicken and brown rice for 6 months straight, and I was like, that would.
I
Drive.
mean, it's
It probably feels like that, eh?
no, it's a very gradual sort of thing. The dieting down. But I mean, again, everyone's different. I think for me, and from what my coach was saying, like I'm very responsive to small changes in my diet. Like I from 12 weeks out, I was, oh no, hang on. Yeah, 12 weeks out, I was at 100 kilos and I got down to 80. Yeah, so like in 3 months, got down.
You lost 20 kilos in 3 months.
Yeah. And it was like, the smallest changes in my diet. Like he'd take like a little bit of rice out and I'd drop significantly. Like,
That's amazing.
I think I was just very reactive to small changes. And
what are
stuff.
you walking around? Like, what are you now?
I stopped weighing myself 2 weeks after my show because I went up.
Fair enough.
I went up like 12 kilos in 2 weeks.
Oh wow! Yeah, I didn't want it to get started to get a bit depressing.
Fuck, I don't need to check this anymore. But I'm probably about 93, 95 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, at my peak of the bulk last year was about 100.
Yep.
But yeah, I went up. I think it was. Yeah, I stopped checking after 2 weeks. I was like, "Fuck, this is pointless."
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Just enjoy the food for fuck's sake.
Well, exactly. I mean, and you probably earn the right to
take
that position.
There's part of me that felt like a bit guilty. Like I should be on point more. You know, like after the shows, but. Fuck, man.
You've also got to enjoy life, man. That's the other thing.
Like,
I mean,
I had to fucking chill out a bit.
if you're winning all these competitions, if you're winning these pro cards, if you're in incredible shape, you're working incredibly hard. Okay, all right. Let's enjoy life a little.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. I'm pretty sick of eating out of little red containers. Like.
I'm sure. Do you? One of the things that actually I think a lot of people don't understand about bodybuilding, and I didn't either, is the amount you have to eat at times.
Yeah.
Like the bulking phase, and you have to eat huge amounts of protein, huge amounts of carbs, and it's not fun carbs or protein. It's like egg whites and rice and no sauce and you know. I mean, is that a struggle for you? Is consuming a lot of food?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
I can eat. I'm no limit, man. I could fucking
Because I've sometimes seen footage.
I have to like hold back. Like,
Oh, wow.
Now, like I have to hold back sometimes
because I sometimes see like
just eat
bodybuilders
forever.
like eating like whether it's like Instagram video or in like documentaries and stuff, and they just kind of they hunch over and they're just like,
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I can just eat and eat.
great. Well then you're in the right sport.
Like that could be like an enhanced thing. Like I know like some guys like the enhanced guys have to eat more. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is, and maybe
Okay.
there is a point where they can't like the thought of food just makes them sick. But I have not reached that point.
Fair enough. Well, yep. That's dude. Then as
That's
I said,
my
you're in the right
Lebanese
sport.
background, man. Like we're force fed.
Oh right, of course. Grandma piling up your plate again and
just
again
bread
and again.
with everything, and like No, I love to eat.
Hell yeah. And what about music? I mean, this is something we haven't really touched on yet. I mean, we've touched on it briefly, but you are a fantastic drummer. So, I mean, you are. And you posted something on your Instagram the other day of an older video of you playing drums.
Yeah, from
saying
a
how
year
much
ago.
you miss it. I mean, is that we're gonna have a comeback? Is there gonna be Dan Nicolas in a rock or metal band in the near future?
I don't know. Like, I'd say at this point, no. I think if I do start playing again, it'd just be for myself. Just fucking around, doing whatever covers and stuff.
Sure.
I'd who knows? Never say never for like anything in the future, but at this point, no, I'm not really interested in starting a band or anything like that. My life is kind of it's like the bridge has bridged like the music drums, performance, and bodybuilding, posing, that performance as well. It's kind of like it's all merged now because I made a posing routine, 1 minute solo performance, and it was such a cool experience. Like create something with music, and I think that's where like my advantage is with it. As a drummer, a musician, as a drummer specifically, with tempo and timing, and making your poses work with songs, and like certain poses, like big poses, working with an accent on at a part of a song.
Okay, so this is actually something that I did want to talk to you about because I think I texted you. I made a joke about this. You always choose the coolest music to add to your poses, just on your photographs.
Yeah.
But this is clearly my ignorance that I don't really understand the bodybuilding world. But do you pose to these songs
Yeah,
live?
sometimes I do. Like, I mean, just to when I'm practicing in my room, or practicing wherever in a posing room.
But when you're on stage and it's your time to do your routine, do you give is there somebody you give music to?
Yeah. I only ever did one routine. It was the first routine I've ever made. And I got help from a posing coach. I built 90% of it myself, and I sort of just bounced it off him, and he was like really impressed with it. He was, is this your first time making a routine? I'm like, yeah. And he was pretty impressed.
Yeah, cool.
Which was like really good boost of confidence for me, because I look at him as like one of the best, like to me, like my favorite posing, classic poser.
Well, I mean, dude, and that because that's the thing, right? So I would imagine 99% of bodybuilders are not musicians, or not drummers.
The funny thing with him was I had this feeling that he was a musician himself as well, just based on the way he poses and how he does it with music. Because he had that knowledge of timing and tempo as well. And I just asked him, I'm like, "Are you a musician?" He said, "Yeah."
Yeah, right.
He plays piano.
It must be such an advantage.
I think it is. It's
like the ballet thing in Pumping Iron. It's maybe your advantage is music, or maybe it is dance, or maybe it is. But if you understand rhythm and movement and tempo, and then you're doing something that requires good rhythm, movement, and tempo, well, of course, even though it's a very different thing, you would never. I don't think there are many people who would draw a parallel to being like, oh, being a bodybuilder is just like being a musician.
There's so many. Like I see it all the time. Like that's in building routines, because it's like I said, that the timing and tempo and all that stuff. It's performance. It's falling into, like I said before, falling into that character when you get on stage. Yeah. Same with drumming, and same with anyone in a band. Like you enter a different persona when you're on stage. It's the same.
But the technical side of it, when you're writing this, I mean, it might not even have. You might not even think about this when you're doing it, but it would just have such a. It'd be such a crossover. You have such an advantage as a drummer.
Yeah, I think it's one of my biggest advantages with posing.
That's fantastic. That's so cool.
And it shows, like, because that routine, it was like I said, the first routine I've ever made.
What song did you pose to in that routine?
It was exit music for a film by Radiohead.
One of my favorite songs of all time, dude. One of the best Radiohead songs ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Like, there's so many songs. I had like a playlist of songs I was going to choose.
Were you trying to make the audience fucking cry, dude? Like, what the? That's a beautiful song. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, very very emotional. Yeah,
very emotional. Wow. I mean, I think I need to come to your next show next time you're doing this. I mean, that's.
Well, I want to build more and more routines. Because I loved it, like just that creativity and making
so cool
poses flow into the song, and just making it work with the music is really fun.
I'm honestly just picturing it now. I think that would really work. Exit music for a film with.
I've got a video that I'll send it to you.
Send it to me, please. And I'm going to put up a picture of you doing your thing. Maybe I'll try and put up a little snippet of that video as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
that's
send it to you. It's yeah. I've had so much fun making that. And
tell
I
you
just
what.
wanna
Why
do
don't you
more
show
of it.
me now?
Yeah.
I'll watch it now, and I will put up on the bottom of the screen just a little snippet of it, just so whoever's watching this can see it as well, because it sounds very, very interesting.
Where is it? This one, yeah.
Let's go, Dan! Woo! Let's go, Dan.
Yeah. Don't mind the screen. That's my best mate, Candace.
Dude, it's so good, man. Wow. And the music is amazing. I mean, I thought you'd come out to like Master of Puppets or something like that, but this is way better. Well, I don't know, man. You know, Rain in Blood or something.
Raining blood. Oh my god, yeah.
But that's what's so cool. Oh, dude, this is so impressive. Fucking wow, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's okay, so again, this has now opened my eyes to a whole another element of it. I understand why you want to be a posing coach, because if that is your creative outlet, whether it's you doing the poses or one of your clients, somebody you're writing it for, the mixture between I don't know, the visual aesthetic of a bodybuilding pose routine mixed with an amazing song like exit music for a film. Man, that's art.
It's
That's absolutely art.
It's art, and it's just so satisfying to see it come together, and especially for when I've helped a few people already with posing. I've got one client already and potentially a couple more, but it's such a satisfying feeling to see, like, the moment when a pose clicks for them and they're like, they know how to do it properly, because it's such a frustrating thing, like, visually, for me to see people not hitting poses properly. And that's like my as a sign writer, like my background is sign writing, like traditional sign writing. So I think like that artistic side of seeing, like when I see a sign and it just visually looks wrong, it's very frustrating. If, like, you know, it's not centered properly or something's off or whatever. That's that side of my other artistic side coming into this as well. When I see poses just not hit properly, it's just, I just want to fucking grab them and like tweak them in the right way. So when I see, like, when I explain to people how to pose, give them the right cues, and it clicks, and it's just a really satisfying thing to see poses come together.
100%. And I'm so impressed by that. I'm sorry. I'm still kind of there. I haven't actually moved on. I'm listening to what you're saying, but yeah, man. Wow. How fucking cool.
Yeah, I just want to do more of that. That's what I want to do.
You sort of said that at the moment now that's going to take your main focus.
Yeah, I want, as in
Posing coach, your posing coach business.
I want it to be my full-time thing. Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
It'll take some time to build it.
We'll get in a comp soon, because I need to go and see that live, please.
I won't be competing for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, fair enough.
But like, I'll be making more and more content like that for sure.
Well, when you have a client, you let me know, because I'll come and watch that. That's really good, because the music, like in that moment, because I mean, exit music for a film is such a slow build of a song. Yeah. But you obviously, the snippet you got of it, like in that crescendo, I don't know what the pose is when you turn your back and you do the double arms. Right, dude. That crescendo with that music, and then this moment, and then you kind of flex your back. It's like, it all comes together in this moment. You're like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
really,
so
really
fun.
impressed. I think this is my favorite moment of the whole podcast. Just watching that,
No,
dude.
that's cool.
Oh man, that's so cool. And I 'cause I get it. It's actually clicked. Like I think I thought I got it, and then I saw that, and I'm like, oh no, now I actually get it.
Yeah,
I actually get it. That's really cool.
yeah,
Amazing, dude.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
And it's clear. And again, and because of your musical background, you picked the right moment, because in that moment the pose matches the music in a way that
was such a hard thing to do. I had, like I said, I got a playlist of songs I was potentially going to pick, and it was just hard because you also it's got to be a minute,
right.
It can't be any more than a minute, so it was hard to find the right song. There's plenty of songs, but they're just too short or too long in duration, and it was I landed on that one. I didn't expect to land on it. I was kind of surprised I chose that too.
Because I mean that is a classic example of the power of music. It elevates any situation. I mean, bodybuilding is impressive, just obviously visually, of course it is. But you add that musical element, and it takes it to another place. It takes it to another level. That it just like music in a film, no pun intended. You can get emotional by hearing violins in a bloody credit card commercial, like, and it really can. Music can really elevate us emotionally
100%.
to a place that the lack of music cannot. But you pair something like that that's as visually impressive as bodybuilding with amazing music in a crescendo moment, and then your peak moment of your pose is that it all comes together, and you're like, okay, this is I see the two worlds locking into each other.
Yeah, it's extremely emotional. I picked one of the most emotional songs. Like I think there's a lot of like the emotions of like how I'm feeling at that point in time when I'm depleted and like just running on fumes, basically, like already feeling very sensitive, and then working on this thing and just seeing it come together, and like I'm impressing myself with how good it looks, and really fucking emotional, and then showing it to friends leading up to it, and then getting emotional, and then I'm getting emotional, and then it's like I put a lot into it. I put my whole life into the prep and competing, like everything, my whole life revolves around it, and then building something like that, like just a lot of emotions.
Yeah, dude, I'm
many
not surprised.
moments like watching it back and in the moment, like creating it, or it just it hits me hard.
Hell yeah, man! What a
very proud
wild
of it.
thing! What a wild journey to be on, and building those two things in together, like amazing, amazing
just
stuff.
Having all my biggest passions come into one thing, and that being my career is fucking exciting.
Fuck yeah, dude!
Yeah,
Oh man, that's so cool.
yeah. Exit for a podcast.
Exit for a podcast. Exit for a podcast. Exit for a film. Exit for a podcast. Dan, I know you got to go. I'm so pleased that you came and we had this chat. You've opened my eyes to bodybuilding in a way that, quite frankly, I didn't know about. There's a whole element to this that I was not aware of, and I now am, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you and being honest and telling your story. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I think it's really inspiring. You're really inspiring.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Like, it was good to have a platform to talk about it as well. So, really appreciate it.
100%, man. Congratulations on all your success. Thank you again, and we've got to do this again. You got to come back and
for sure.
When you're further down the line with your posing stuff, I want to talk about this again.
Yeah, for sure. I'll run you through a few poses if you want as well.
Oh man, that'd be great. That'd be lots of fun. Hell yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, you look a little better with your shirt off than I do right now, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, bro.